and welcome back to the Business Hyve Podcast. I'm Jess, here to spark actionable strategies and fun breakthroughs that unleash your business potential. And today, I'm letting you peek behind the curtain. I'm building something big, scary big. Scary big, people. And I'm choosing to do it in public. No polished behind the scenes story told 6 months after the fact. No vague captions with vague wins. Just me showing up, sharing what I'm doing while I'm doing it. And I'll be honest with you, I have debated whether or not this is a good idea. There's a certain vulnerability in letting people watch you try something, especially when the outcome isn't really guaranteed. But if you've seen my newest YouTube series or my reels on Instagram, then you know I've already committed. I'm documenting the full journey of launching the Business Hyve. And in today's podcast, I want to talk about why I'm doing it this way. Now, before we dive into that, let me tell you a quick personal story. I knew that I wanted to do the Business Hyve. I've been sitting on that domain name and that name for a very long time, but I didn't know what I wanted it to be. Originally, I thought it was just going to be a online course or some type of program, but I wanted to take my time and understand the new market that I was getting into. Now, if you've heard any of my other podcast episodes, you already know my background. I've been doing digital strategy since about 2001, so almost 25 years. And over that time, I have worked in every capacity you could possibly think in: web design, SEO, web dev, analytics, accessibility, usability, digital marketing, social media, you name it, I've done it. So I understand what I'm teaching, what I'm talking about, what I'm helping other people do. And I have done that for corporations and small businesses and nonprofits and even a municipality. I've done it in corporate. And so now I want to not work for another company and work for everybody else. So that's how I came up with the idea of wanting to help other people through the Business Hyve. But like I said, I didn't know what I wanted the Business Hyve to be. And so I decided to start engaging with people. And after I quit my job last year, the end of last year, I started communicating with people. I jumped into a number of different groups and I started doing coffee chats with other business owners to get a better understanding of not just what they needed, but how they were receiving the information that was already out there in the market. Because as you know, I know you already know this, but there's a lot of information out there in terms of what to do with your website and what to do with social media and how to market your business and how to run a digital business. There's a ton of information out there. There's a ton of experts. But just because something is out there doesn't mean that what's out there is good enough for the majority of people. So if you're looking to get into business or you're in business and you're thinking, God, my industry is so saturated, that doesn't mean squat. An industry can be super saturated and you can still bubble to the top if you are providing the value and filling the needs of the customer, better than everybody else. And that was my goal. Digital is my passion. I have been interested in the web since I was in high school, which was a obnoxiously long time ago, to be completely honest with you, but we won't go there. So, as I was thinking about what I wanted to do with the Business Hive, I started doing some one offs consultations, running through some ideas with small business owners that would give me a chance to engage with them. And from that, I learned a lot. What I learned is that I didn't need to try and retrofit people into my product or service. I needed to retrofit my product or service into what they needed. And I think that's where a lot of experts go wrong. They think to themselves, how can I fit these people into what I know how to do? As opposed to, how do I create something that actually meets the needs of the people out there? So when I decided to build the Business Hive, this digital community specifically for business owners and solopreneurs and nonprofit leaders, I made a promise to myself. I said, no matter what, you're going to do it. I don't care if it gets hard. I don't care if nobody's listening to you for 5 years plus. You're not going to stop, because I had to know in my heart of hearts that if what I knew how to do was good enough for a company, a corporation, someone else's business, it was good enough for me. So let's talk about now what building in public actually means for me and why I've chosen to share this process in real time. Let me begin by saying I am a procrastinator and I am a serial abandoner. Okay. I will come up with an idea and abandon it by lunchtime. Okay. By lunch, I have planned it out and walked away from it. And I have done that for years. Keep in mind, I've been sitting on the Business Hive, like I said, for years, but I've wanted to run my own business full time for decades. Okay. Decades. And I've done a little bit here and there. I've had my little side hustles where I designed websites or I did marketing, but I've never quit my job and dedicated every day, all day to my endeavor. So I am doing this and I promised myself that I would do it. And so to keep myself honest, I'm going to do it in real time in front of all of you. And there are 5 big reasons why I'm doing this. First, I want to show it can be done. A lot of people, they talk about building communities or launching a digital platform or growing a movement or a business, but they don't always show the early messy stages. You know how you follow a guru and they're like, I was able to do X, Y, and Z and make 7 figures and look how successful I am. But they don't tell you that it took them 10 years before they actually started to get momentum. They don't tell you that, how they started and stopped and started and stopped and started and stopped. They don't tell you that. They talk about the last 3 months, the last 2 months, the last 30 days where the momentum just started. And it didn't just start out of nowhere. It started because they've been working on this for the last however long. They don't talk about the 0 subscribers or the first awkward cold email or the pivot they had to do after realizing something they wanted to work wasn't going to. I want you to see that I started from scratch. I didn't launch the Business Hive with a 6-figure budget. Oh, baby, I don't have a 6-figure budget. Honey, I don't have 6 figures in any of my accounts combined. I don't have a massive team. I have one other person working with me. She's related to me and she's doing it because she loves me. I started this thing with an idea, a waitlist page, and a whole lot of grit. So if you're sitting on your own big idea, I want my journey to be proof that you don't have to wait until everything's perfect to start. In fact, you should not wait until everything's perfect to start. Because here's a look into the future. It'll never be perfect enough to start. Just start. The second reason is I want to encourage others. There's something powerful about seeing someone who looks like you, sounds like you, or works like you doing the thing you've been dreaming about. If you're a solopreneur or a nonprofit or a founder or some type of small business owner, or you dream of being one of these things, especially if you're trying to do it without a safety net like me, I want you to feel seen because I know how it feels to try to build something meaningful when the world is constantly telling you to play it safe. I want my content to be the little nudge that says, keep going. You're not the only one in the trenches. You got this. Now, third, I'm documenting what I'm doing so you can learn from it for free. There's no need to put this behind a paywall. This is an experience. This is my experience. And I want you to see the ups and the downs and the up downs and the down ups and the all arounds and the loop-de-loos. I've spent over 2 decades working in digital strategy and helping other businesses grow and scale. And I decided to bring that experience into this series. So I'm not gatekeeping anything. I'll tell you what tools I'm using. I'll share how I'm building my email list. I'm going to break down why certain strategies worked and why others didn't. And just because it didn't work for me doesn't mean it won't work for you. And just because it did work for me doesn't mean that it will work for you. That's the crazy part about business. There's no one size fits all. If you just do this one thing, it'll work. That doesn't exist. I'm going to give you options and recommendations you can apply to your own business. Not the fluff, not the crap, not the regurgitated advice that you can find in a quick Google search or on Perplexity. I'm going to talk about the real decisions that I'm making based on the real data with context around my business. Think of it like a blueprint with annotations. You can take what works, leave what doesn't, and know that it came from someone who's in it with you. And on top of all of that, my DMs are open. So if you have questions, ask. I'm going to answer whatever you ask. Well, no, because it's people out there that are crazy and going to ask crazy questions. I will answer the relevant questions. I will answer the relevant questions. Fourth, I want to share the underbelly of building something real. Because let's be honest, most of what we see online is the highlight reel, the wins, the testimonials, the I just made $50,000 in a weekend captions. You know what I'm talking about. But what about the nights you stare at your screen wondering if anyone's going to care? Or the failed experiments, or the shifts in direction. I'm going to do this. And then you find out, oh, that's not going to work. Let me shift. Maybe I'm going to do this over here. The internal questioning. Why am I doing this? Am I crazy? I might be crazy. I might be a little crazy. That's the part that most people don't show because it's not sexy. That's not the part that gets everybody all riled up. And it's not the part that brings in the dollar bills. I'll be honest. A lot of these gurus, they make all of this money because they're promising that you'll make all of this money. If I promised you, oh, I'm going to show you what to do and you're going to make $50,000 a month just like me, you'd be like, heck yeah. But if I tell you this is going to be hard and it's going to suck and you're going to sweat and cry and you might even roll around on the floor like a toddler at some point, it's not sexy. That's not what you want. Now, being successful in business doesn't care what you want. I mean, you're going to pay the piper one way or the other if you want the real success. So I'm going to show you all the stuff. I'm going to talk about the bottom side of the glacier, not just the shiny tip floating above the surface. And fifth, I want to document this journey for me. One day, I want to look back and remember that I built this thing from the ground up, that I struggled and that I succeeded, that I tossed and I turned and I doubted and got back up again, and that I made it. This series is a digital time capsule, not for the algorithm or the applause, but for me and for anyone else who needs to see what it looks like to keep going even when it's hard. Now, let me turn the camera back to you for a second. If you're building something right now, whether it's a business or a project or a nonprofit or even just your own personal brand, I want you to ask yourself, what would it look like to bring people along for the ride? I'm not talking about having you start a YouTube channel or, share your deepest, darkest secrets. I'm talking about showing more of your process. Can you stop waiting until it's the perfect time and start sharing what's real? Because I believe, and right now it's a theory that I'm working on, but I believe that above all else, brands that genuinely connect with their audience have a stronger staying power than brands that don't. It's a theory I'm working on. And I don't mean the connection that's surface. I don't mean the theatrical, oh, I'm going to change my logo to a rainbow in June. You know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm talking about. No, I'm talking about the ones that actually say, look, this is who we are. This is what we offer. This is what we do. And we'd like you to come along. Not everybody's going to come. Not everybody's going to get it. But for the ones that do, we'd love to have you. Because people don't just connect to polished results. They connect to honesty and momentum. They connect to humans. Humans connect to humans. And maybe, just maybe, showing up as yourself is the key to building the audience and the business and the impact that you've been chasing this whole time. So here's what I want you to remember from this episode. I started sharing the journey of building the Business Hyve in public to prove that it can be done, to encourage other business owners, and to give away useful strategies and reveal the full picture. I did this to remind myself that this whole journey is worth remembering. You don't need a perfect business to inspire others. You need courage, consistency, and the willingness to show up. And if you're tired of feeling like you're building a business alone, then let's change that. Because when you begin to share your story and connect with other people, you begin to build a community around your business. And that community will show up for you. Now, I'm going to do a shameless plug at this point. The Business Hyve. That's the thing I'm building. It officially launches on August 13th, and the wait list is open right now. This isn't a gimmicky community with empty promises or endless pitches. It's a space built intentionally for business owners, solopreneurs, nonprofit leaders, and entrepreneurs who are tired of the noise and ready for something real. Now, I'm going to tell you, I am limiting the number of people in the Business Hyve. This is not a social media platform. Okay. There's going to be a limit to how many people are in there because, one, I want it to be intimate. I want you to engage with each other. Two, I want you to engage with me. And I'm one person, and I can't engage with 50,000 people. I can't engage with 5,000 people. So we're going to keep it small. Well, Jessica, that means that you're going to limit how much money you make. I know. That's okay. I would rather provide the level of expertise and engagement that actually helps my members than to run around telling everybody I make 7 figures. And that's just the crux of it. It sounds crazy, completely understand, but I'm an I'm older, okay? And my days of hoping and dreaming to be a billionaire, I just don't that's not a dream of mine. I don't I don't want that. I don't care. I want to be healthy. That's number 1. Healthy is number 1 at all times. I want to be comfortable and I want to be joyous. Those are the 3 things that I want. And the Business Hive is going to get me all 3 of those. So, inside the Business Hive, you're going to find support, you're going to find strategy, you're going to find connection, no pressure to perform, no need to pretend. You're going to get access to live conversations and expert insights and a community that actually gives a damn. You're going to get access to me as your digital strategist in your pocket. You'll have access to live office hours where you'll be able to chat with me over text chat and say, hey, Jess, I'm having a problem, or I'd like to do this in my business, or I want to do a new digital product. What do you think about this, that, and the third? And I'm going to be on the other end and I'm going to say, okay, let me ask you a few questions. Let's brainstorm this together. I mean, you're not you're not really going to get that anyplace else. So, if you would like to be a part of something this meaningful and something built with intention, now is the time. Remember, I told you there is going to be a limit on the number of members. I want you to join the waitlist. The link is in the show notes. You're going to get priority access, and you may even win one of the prizes I'm giving away. And all the prizes I'm giving away are in total worth $6,000. So this is definitely something you're going to want to join. If this episode spoke to you, I want you to take a second to subscribe to the podcast. I'll be back next week with more behind the scenes stories and real strategies and a whole lot of truth. You know how I am. I'm bringing the truth about building your business that actually works. So until next time, I want you to stay curious. I want you to stay consistent. And no matter what, I want you to do it afraid. Bye, y'all.